Upgrade. We are reviewing the movie Upgrade.
You just got upgraded.
Oh, sorry. Did I throw
Not
you off?
sure, but the movie isn't really about upgrades, but spoilers. We always spoil everything.
Yeah, I was going to say we might as well just start putting a disclaimer. All the reviews we do on the show are full spoilers. So if you want to watch the movie, go pop out, come back. Maybe we should start doing Do We Recommend at the beginning. That would let somebody, I don't know. That's a discussion for another day.
But that is a good, yeah, and then we can argue about it, maybe change our answer.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do that. So would you advise people watch this movie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
How
thought
about
it was a good movie. I have issues with it, but all sci-fi has issues.
Definitely rated R. Definitely weird. Pop out, watch it, come back. All right, so the synopsis for this delightful film is set in the near future. Technology controls nearly all aspects of life. But when the world of Gray, a self-labeled technophobe, is turned upside down, his only hope for revenge is an experimental computer chip implant. Whew, that's a mouthful. All right, so the cast and crew we have here, director and writer is Lee Whannell. And then I put the top 3 actors and actresses here. Gray is our main character, who is played by Logan Marshall Green. Asha, his wife, Melanie Vallejo. And Aaron Keane, the creepy kid dude, man. Is he young? I can't really tell. Is Harrison Gilbertson.
Yeah, I think he is young, I guess. But I don't know if he's actually younger than like the lead.
Right.
I mean, that guy could be like 27. They could both be 27.
Sure. Okay, so we start off and we have the main character who's like fixing up a hot rod. I think there's a Dodge Challenger.
And that's not how we start off. We start off with the first unique producer studio credits opening I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not like a guy, some kid fishing from the moon, and then it's not like one little movie, another little movie, another little movie. It's just one slightly creepy person, like voice, like telling us who produced and filmed it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there's like a little kind of Windows Media Player background of lines moving with the voice. And I was sitting there watching it going, wait a minute, I've never seen this done with this before. I've never seen a really unique take on the opening. It wasn't opening credits. It was the opening studio
Yep.
runs. I don't know what you call that section of the movie.
Yeah, I think it's part of the opening credits, right? By the way, speaking of studios, this is our 3rd Blumhouse film, which we did The Hunt and we did Fantasy Island previously. So I think they're making it their mainstay on this show. Just back to your other point, the guy who plays Aaron, Harrison Gilbertson, which is a mouthful, was born in 1993, so he's 27.
Oh,
And
okay.
the main character is 44.
Whoa, I don't know what that guy does for his like vitamins or whatever, but I'm gonna need like that. I need that. He's substantially older than me and looks substantially younger than me.
Yeah.
Dude could be my uncle looking like my little brother.
Yeah. In the beginning of the movie, other than the opening credits, he's in like a basic garage, like old school, like 70s hot rod cars. Has a couple of them.
That is not a basic 70s hot rod car.
But I'm just trying to put it in the perspective of, it looks like it's a movie that could have been shot today for the first, 5 minutes. And then his wife pulls up in like this weird futuristic self-driving car.
Yeah, it looks like just gold plated. and like oddly shaped. I was like, is that Trump's car?
It looks like a Buick Rendezvous. Yeah.
Are there supposed to be
So
like golden solar panels? I didn't quite understand what they were doing with that car.
they want to make sure that you don't know where if the car is driving to the right place, so they like block out all the windows.
Yeah,
Trust
that's a lot of.
technology.
That's, I don't know if I like. I'm fine with like cars having like the blacked out windows once
Yeah.
everyone else is on autopilot.
Yep.
But if there's some other jackass on the road, I got to keep my eye on him.
And later on, we get this really cool. I enjoyed it. I don't know how you felt, but there was like an old school style race with Gray and the hot rod against the cop,
Yeah.
and every other car is like self driving, so it's pretty easy to maneuver around them.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, they're all going 65 miles per hour. Really weird.
I feel like people should do that too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what speed y'all want to go. I'll go faster than I do now. I'll go slower. Just let's all pick a speed.
Yep.
Let's all pick a speed and let's go that speed.
Yeah.
I know some of you are in a hurry, but like if you look at how long a trip takes versus like if you're speeding, if you look at how long a trip takes versus like speeding, it's not the stress is not worth the time. You're gonna go
Yeah.
10 miles faster on a 70-mile-an-hour road. Whoop de freaking do. Those time savings are so small.
Yeah.
You're not that important.
Yep.
If you were that important, you'd be in a helicopter, you asshole. All right, let's get back to the movie.
Yeah, so after the self-driving car pulls up, it's very evident what kind of world we're living in. He and the wife go inside the house, and she starts talking to the house, and that kind of thing. And then she pops her coat off, and I'm like, yeah, here we go. I was excited for it, but nothing ever came of it, which was
No,
very
it's not
sad.
that kind of movie.
And my brain is melting. No, go ahead. So, what was the purpose? Like, why did Gray know Aaron? Aaron's our third main character here.
The
Was it
only connection that I saw was that Gray, I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, based on what I see in the movie, Gray contacted Aaron because he wanted a sweet car, is
Okay.
what Aaron understands. I don't think Aaron drove up to his underground bunker like, you want to buy a car?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that like Aaron sent him a pigeon or something. However, Aaron communicates, he doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah, so Aaron lives. So they drive out to Aaron's house, which is in underneath like a Stonehenge style rock.
Yeah.
It's really
you
weird.
walk through Stonehenge, down the stairs into the James Bond villain bunker,
Yeah.
where
Where
the
he's
totally
playing with
not
a
the
storm
obvious
cloud.
bad guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the guy. And just to describe it, they walked into this underground James Bond villain bunker, and there's this dude that looks like Jake Paul, like waving his hands around a storm cloud.
Yeah. Jake Paul had a baby with Tom Holland. I got Tom Holland vibes from him.
And he brings his wife because he wants her to see the house.
Hmm.
Which I wouldn't think he would be impressed by the house since he hates computers, but apparently he wants his wife to see the computers. I don't know. I guess because it's a really, really big place.
Yeah,
But
and also
I would
he
think
likes
this far in the
garages, so-
future, yeah. I would think this far in the future, those places would be somewhat common because if you have self-driving cars, your commute doesn't mean as much. You can live wherever you want and just like you just go to bed like in your car or IV and wake up at work.
Yeah.
You could live in
That's the dream.
Arizona and work in California.
Yeah. It's not
But
the
enough
dream.
about my future plans. I love how the Jake Paul looking guy just like kind of in a very not socially connected way just talks smack to to the guy's wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're kind of doing the work that you're doing. He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, because they're rival tech companies, the wife and Jake Holland.
And how confident do you have to be to show your unannounced product to your competitor?
Yeah, right.
That'd be like they'd be like Steve Jobs, just like calling up Samsung, like, hey, yeah, I just wanted to let you know I unlocked my phone with the fingerprint. Ciao.
Yep. And so he shows the wife this new chip that he says is, better than a brain or faster processing. It's replace the brain someday, that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they leave and they're going out to dinner? Question mark. Was it her birthday or something? I can't remember why they were going out. Because you
Yeah, they're
need a
going
reason.
somewhere. Doesn't matter. They're in the car.
Yeah, and the car starts speeding up randomly. They're trying to shut it off, and it's going into Gray's old neighborhood, which I guess was the hood, right? It was kind of a ghetto-ish area, right?
Yeah, and they had some like that's where I think the idea is like that's where you live if you don't want to be like chipped and stuff like that.
Sure. And they get
Like that's where
ambushed.
you go if you want to commit a crime because they don't have like the RoboCop running around.
Yep. So the car flips over. They get ambushed. A bunch of thugs, come out, and they kill the wife and shoot Gray in his spine. So it's really nice start to the movie. He got to watch his wife die at least, right?
Yeah, we get to meet the kind of secondary antagonist.
Yep.
Who has this weird speech. And when he gives the weird speech, I'm like, okay, this guy's going to show up later for another scene where he says dumb shit. And it was a really strange speech, and usually those are used to kind of foreshadow, but this was kind of anti-foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like he was talking directly to the woman, like about, oh, how you think that you're better than me, and you now I'm going to shoot you. I don't remember the rest of it. But it was a very like the speech to me felt defensive and kind of like maybe he thought like I don't know, like maybe she was just really rich or something like that and he didn't like that. I didn't know where they were going with it. But I'm pretty sure they weren't going where they actually went with it.
Yeah. So
and I'm going to come back to that later once we talk about Mustachio's deal.
Yeah. So this movie's 99 minutes long, hour and 39. Did you feel that the segments after this where he's paralyzed, so he gets shot in the spine, he's paralyzed, he's got to, ride around his little wheelchair. Did you feel like that kind of went on too long, the paralysis arc, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I think that's a hard thing to do from a sort of a director producer standpoint because you have to really cement that this guy is going into it against what he wants to do. Like this is someone who would never ever let you like put him in like a VR headset.
Yeah.
This is a guy who does not carry a cell phone. God damn it. If he breaks his hip, you're not putting a bolt in there. You put a wood splint on there for me.
Yep.
So you've really got to make him suffer before he gets a computer chip implanted in the base of his skull. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about that car crash. That car flipped going at about 70 miles per hour, and he cracked the future windshield with his head.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how skulls work, but I'm pretty sure he'd be missing a few sections.
Yeah. Or at least that would have paralyzed him.
Up like punching people.
Imagine that part paralyzes him and he doesn't have to the thugs don't have to carry out the mission.
I mean,
smashes his head and just
well the thugs wouldn't know he was paralyzed. I think the more realistic thing is like the guy's brains are a thin film on the windshield.
Yeah.
They kill the wife and go, boss, I think you need another technophobe because you just killed that one. Why didn't you just stop the car? Why didn't they just stop the car? There are 4 guys with guns.
Yeah.
We better cause a car crash here so that we can have our robot militia show up.
Yeah.
I was
It
like, why would you like? Why did you okay, this AI is fucking stupid.
yeah. The
And
the the
spoiler.
car flips over and there's no damage done to the structure itself of the car, which I believed because I would think that if they were gonna transition to self-driving cars, that they would want strong everything
No, no,
just
no,
in
no.
case.
Okay, that is a misunderstanding of how cars work. Older cars, like from the '70s, the ones that are made of steel, the
Uh-huh.
kind where you like run through a brick building and you check to make sure the brick building's okay.
Yeah.
Those cars are fine. You can total a human and not scratch the car.
Right.
Modern cars are made with what they call crumble zones. They want you to go from 80 to 0 as gradually as possible. And the way they do that is by having the car take damage instead of you.
Right.
So future cars would actually just crumble a lot better. I think
Uh-huh.
like I think like a super future car, which I don't think we're at this point in the movie yet. I think like in the future that's gonna like analyze where you're sitting and have the car fold around you like an Iron Man suit.
Or as soon as instead of an airbag, the car just fills with foam.
Yeah, like it just covers you in like a space foam and you
Yeah.
just bounce down the street like a marshmallow.
Breathable space foam. All right, we got
Like
to
you
get
have like
on that.
Jackass episodes of people like launching themselves off a cliff to get the foam to go off. But in this case, I think the car would have like some serious crumple zones and would like fold around where they expect the people to be seated.
Really, I just figured it was like a steel sphere because everything's made out of metal now, anyways, with the technology and that kind of thing. But
Yeah, but the
yeah,
thing is, it's the deceleration that kills you.
yeah.
And that's what all the crumble zones in modern cars are. I don't think I'm giving away too much information about stuff when I say this. I was in an accident where another car hit the door of my car,
Hmm.
like the driver's side door. Like I was like making eye contact with this lady, and and the door of my car was dented, but like the actual inside of the frame, like where like you can anything you can touch, all completely unchanged. Her car was totaled.
Damn.
That's how they're designed. The front of her car was built very specifically to protect me and her.
Right.
If the crash I had been in happened in an old like muscle car that's made out of steel and American muscle,
Yeah.
we would have been dead.
Let me ask you a question. Now, this might be going down a path we don't want to go down, but do you think that we're at the max that we could possibly be with all the science we have
Like
for in terms of miles per gallon?
um I don't understand how a car really works, to be honest. Like I know that
Uh-huh.
the pistons, like if you gave me like a year and an abacus, I could eventually make a steam engine, I think. But in
Hmm.
10 lifetimes, I would not be able to make a modern internal combustion engine. I mean, the way like because a car runs on explosions basically.
Hmm.
And the lost heat, the reason why an electric car is more efficient than a ICE car, internal combustion engine, the reason why they're more efficient is there's less heat loss, and it's not running on explosions. It's much more directed. It's electrons moving magnets, if I understand electric engines correctly. So I think we're getting close to it in terms of running cars on explosions,
Hmm.
just because of the physics of it. You know, you can't. It's very hard to make them put all their energy in one thing. You can't. We don't know how to run a car on excess heat. So anything that's
Sure.
based on basic fire is going to be flawed in some way or another.
Sure.
So I think we're most of the way there. I don't think car mileage is going to triple, for example.
Hmm.
But if you said it's going to double, I wouldn't call you a liar.
Sure. Okay. So
But
we
I mean,
go
that's all
through.
peanuts
Mhm.
compared to how efficient a battery engine, an electric engine is because physics.
Of course. So back to our little story here. So as I mentioned, the sequence where he's initially paralyzed is quite extensive. I mean, I don't know exactly how long it was. I didn't mark the times or anything, but it just seemed longer
It's a good
than
like
I wanted it to
10,
be.
15 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Even though the movie's only 99, I thought it would be, 5 to 10 maybe max. Anyways, so we get to the point where he's just completely depressed, tries to kill himself with overdose. He the the house
It's a
is like
it's
the
a good thing
one
he's not very smart because I mean he lives near the water. He could have just driven off into the water.
that would be kind of funny. Sorry,
It's
but
like he just if he, if the AI apocalypse was just canceled because the guy knew how to kill himself.
yeah, right.
Like
So
I mean he could have like well no because it wouldn't have been never mind that wouldn't have been that would not have canceled. He would have just found someone else.
sure, and
So I
he
mean
tries to get the house to keep giving him his dose of meds, and the house is like, I can't give you any more. So
yeah
he wakes.
I'm not that dumb, buddy. I'm calling the paramedics.
So he wakes up in the hospital, and Aaron comes in and offers him the chip that we saw earlier in the movie. So the chip is designed to work off of his brain function and deliver the all of the information to the rest of his body, rendering him no longer paralyzed, which I thought was really cool. I mean, obviously, I knew that's where we were going, but I just thought it was a nice. It's kind of like a bridge between the two severed sections of the spine.
Yeah,
And
that
go
didn't make
ahead.
a ton of sense to me. Like,
Why is that?
well, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say the chip contains a smarter than human AI.
Uh-huh.
Why would why would that AI know better how to fuse together nerve endings than just a simpler machine that was built to translate because it's taking nerve endings and connecting them to nerve endings. If you can connect a computer chip to nerve endings, I feel like you could connect nerve endings to nerve endings.
I don't think it's connecting the nerve endings together necessarily. It's just both sides of the chip are touching the spinal cord,
Yeah, but I
right?
mean, but well, hold on. We can agree there isn't a direct connection between his brain and like his arms and legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can also agree that there's no AI stuff below his shoulders. There's no
Right.
chip below his shoulders, right?
Of course.
He hasn't had his arms and legs wired.
No, the only mechanical piece in him is that little. It's like the size
Yeah.
of a crouton. I
So
don't know.
so his head is fine, right?
Yep.
And his arms and legs are fine. So the chip isn't actually doing anything that a much simpler construction could do.
Right.
Honestly, I think it's that chip is doing stuff that we are kind of close to doing now. I imagine there's experiments somewhere where they take your own like nerve endings and grow them in a petri dish and then sew them back in.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work very well.
Right.
I mean, I know that they're like growing organs outside of human bodies now.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I think nerve endings might be more complicated than we can do right now, but I don't. I feel like the chip, using that chip to reverse a quadriplegic, is it's like using a spaceship to get to the corner store. It's like you're
Right.
going out to orbit and getting the directions from a satellite, and then just coming down 80 feet to your left.
Right.
And like, there we go. We fixed the fact your bike is like your bicycle doesn't have a chain on it, so we brought this helicopter to carry your bicycle around. It's just the solution they came up with is the hardest possible solution.
Yeah, but I think as we find out later in the movie, I think the entire reason for putting the chip in was to get STEM inside of his body. So
Yeah, I'm just saying like this computer chip is 500 years in the future from this world if they can't like fix his neck.
yeah,
I
and
because the only technology we really see are like the robot arms, which are they can follow instructions, and the self-driving cars. It's very like AI dude and then hand waving in between.
right. Yeah, I think the whole
Also,
the
the
whole
future kind
thing
of
just
sucks. The future kind of
yeah,
sucks.
true.
I mean, they've got all they had this giant house with like robot arms and a house nanny. And what do they get the machine to make for them? A gross looking protein shake.
Yep.
The man can't have a pork chop.
Right.
I
I
mean, come
mean,
on, let's have a BLT. Let's have give me some fried chicken.
yeah, and you'd think the damn arm could cut it up for you. It's like I can't use my arms. Can you do the job here? But
I mean, we could at least get like some Uber Eats and get him some real food.
yeah,
The man is paralyzed. He's not like a vegetable.
right. And the
That is
surgery.
cruel and that is abuse of the infirm,
What
giving him
did you
that
think?
protein shake.
What did you think about the surgery? Like they showed, like
Yeah, that was. I think that might be one of the most gruesome surgeries I've seen in a movie.
they show
I mean,
like most movies would show like cutting into the neck, but they really show they're sawing away at his neck. They're
I
opening
mean,
it
they
up.
peeled him like they were trying to debone a turkey. I think that was way too much for that little bitty chip in there.
Yeah. But he wakes up. He can walk again. So, and then it's shortly thereafter that we find out that Stem can talk. This is where I got some deep
I,
Venom vibes.
I don't know. I want to talk about one moment though. Like while he's in the chair and like his mom is like cleaning him with the rag and like cutting his beard.
Hmm.
That was to me that was like super intense. I was like, because it's pretty rare that a movie has a dude like just full on cry.
Yeah.
Which I've always thought was weird. Like, oh man, you just killed my wife and my 5 kids and my grandma. I'm gonna look stoically at the sunset for a while to show my grief. No, you're
Yep.
you're you're gonna be crying.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't be the only guy that like cries when shit goes really bad.
Yeah.
And so like that hit me really hard. I was like, wow, like I was like, that's some acting right there.
Yep.
I at that moment I was completely sold.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Where do you want to head from here?
Yeah, I want to talk about how useless that cop was.
She wasn't your favorite character in the movie.
I mean, she was like, "Oh, well, we didn't have their face ID'd, so there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do nothing forever now." And it's like, I mean, no one ever talked about the obvious conspiracy. I mean, that
Right.
was the most obvious conspiracy of all time. I mean, a car randomly flips over right in front of a car with 4 people who are at the very least paramilitary of some sort.
Yep.
They stand there and like monologue. They're pre-set up to avoid like facial algorithms. And the cops like, oh well, we don't have any eyewitnesses. Like, I don't know, why don't you try and figure out like who benefits from this?
Yeah.
Like she didn't talk at all about like the wife's contacts with the company. They didn't consider the fact that like the that they were basically between 2 megacorporations.
Hmm.
I just imagine like 2 military contractors. One of like there's 2 military contractors, right? One of their employees is killed while coming back from the house of the owner of the other one. Someone's gonna investigate that shit.
Yep.
Like they're like, what did you see at the house? What's going on? Do they talk about anything? Is anything business related? He's like, oh yeah, that was that chip thing. Is that important? No, no, it's not important. Don't ask any questions. Don't question him at all about where he's been. Just make it really poignant that you don't have a picture of him.
Right. Ugh.
So like I wrote down my theories as to what's going on in the movie. My first theory was that the kid wanted to experiment on him because he felt disrespected by the wife.
Hmm.
And the other
Yeah.
one was that it's unrelated to the kid and this is a lark from absolutely nowhere. Those were my 2 theories at the time.
Yeah, the thing about the wife needing to be shot, I never understood. Well, it made sense in terms of the plot because the revenge thing, but
Mm-hmm.
why? Okay, this is jumping ahead, but
Yeah.
he has to use STEM in order to. Okay, so that's what it was. So that's where it all ties together. So he needs to use STEM to start killing people. Then have Aaron try and shut him down and then override it. But if STEM was in control in the first place,
Yep.
why did we need Aaron to try and take control and then be shut down?
Exactly. It makes absolutely no sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we could have just had the wife be alive. We could have had STEM make Aaron.
Yeah, they could have just
Take off the
kidnapped
override.
Aaron. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, what do they even need Aaron for? They never explained that. They
To
said,
make-
"Oh, I needed a human to feel human." You never even tried to feel human. You were there for 8 minutes and started offing people who work for you. He
I
spent
think the only
literally
reason-
0 minutes trying to be human. They didn't go on a Ferris wheel. They didn't pet a puppy. There was nothing human that Aaron did. It was literally just day one. Revenge, Robo, let's go.
Yeah, he has to make more of those chips so that they can take over the world or whatever.
No. Well, okay. STEM was trying to stop the other guy from making the chips.
Yeah,
Which, if he was in control of the company, he could have killed him at any time, I feel. But
Yeah.
let's say he had some sort of override for that.
right.
Why wouldn't he have an override for the robot going on a murder rampage and making up? Like, if you can stop the robot from doing one thing, you can stop the robot from doing it with extra steps.
Yep.
It's like, don't murder me. Okay, I won't murder you. What if I pay someone to murder you? That's still murder.
Yep.
Like, if you can't solve that problem, I don't think you're smart enough to make an AI.
Yeah, I agree. So we
I
get
tend to go off. I tend to go off on sci-fi movies because I feel like there's just so much stuff that's just out there in your face,
yeah,
and it will be so easy to make a better story if you just like future weapons just being shitty all the time. Star Trek phasers and lightsabers and blasters are bullshit. I could take on the Empire with a machine gun.
yeah, or a sword.
Like they can't, like those guys can't shoot through metal. Why don't they have tanks? They got those little fucking robots that run around. The Empire should have tanks.
Yeah.
But enough about Star Wars not making any sense. Let's go back to the stuff.
This one doesn't even try and take time travel into account, and it still doesn't make any sense. But
and also, like, the first thing the AI does is it sees the tattoo on the camera.
Yep.
I feel like our character should have been smart enough to know he's being played then, because so the picture is good enough that the AI can see the tattoo and draw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he can't take the video to the cops and have them see the tattoo. Either the tattoo's on the video or it's not.
Right. Oh boy.
And so the only answer is the AI is magic.
Yeah, and maybe the only other reason that they had to do it this way is so that because STEM had to be granted permission by Gray in order to take control. So I guess maybe that's why. And I don't know. I'm just gonna skip over it because it's never gonna make sense.
STEM has been in control of what's the Jake Paul's name?
Aaron.
Aaron. Wait, what's the main character's name?
Gray.
Okay. So, but Aaron has been under the control of the chip for ages. I mean, he had to. I mean, as soon as the AI chip in Gray went and murdered somebody, Aaron had to know something was up. That's not what they had talked about. It's not what the AI told him he was going to do. So why didn't, while he had them in the building at the very first moment, why did he just turn off the chip then and save his own life?
Right.
He didn't do it because then the movie wouldn't go on, basically.
It's literally the only reason.
But I mean, the plot. I mean, at the end when they tell you the AI planned this from the beginning, the whole thing just unravels because the AI starts the movie in complete control, puts itself in a lower amount of control, and then comes back.
Yeah. That's really weird. I don't know.
You can't engineer a homicide, paralyze, surgery without being able to do other stuff that's easier than that.
Yeah. Well, the one on the revenge tour that I did want to talk about was the first guy that he kills. First of all, anytime Gray grants Stem permission to take control, it's always like weird movements.
Yeah.
It's like he rises Undertaker style, except instead of into a seated position, it's from flat back to standing up, and everything's just like super stiff and awkward. But it's supposed to be that way. It's not. It's not a failure of the director or anything like that. It just looks super weird.
No, it's just showing that like I can accept like the stiff, weird movements. It's like, oh, I don't have to follow like the normal way that people move because because I control each muscle consciously. Like when you close your hand, there's like, what, 80 something muscles involved in that, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But if you had the capacity to control each muscle differently, you could do some weird stuff with your hands that people couldn't replicate, right?
Yep.
You could do like Naruto signs and shit like that.
Absolutely.
So I understand like the weird movement is like, oh well, if I move in a way that no one moves, people that are trained martial artists won't be trained from me. It's like
Right.
the punch that you don't see coming is the one that hurts most.
Absolutely.
All of my punches are completely unreadable. I don't drop my shoulder because I control my arm differently.
Yep.
But why was he super strong? Like he picked a dude up by the throat like he was the Big Show.
Yeah. Well, they always say that the humans only use like 20% of their potential.
Yeah,
so
that's not true. That's not
Oh.
true. That's true.
Damn.
Okay.
You're
I know
unraveling my
because-
web of lies.
I know that because like I've gotten a hold of weight that was like too heavy for me, and I moved it, and in the process of moving it, I hurt myself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. I mean,
Yeah, I
I thought
didn't
I could
really
move
get
it, but I
that.
didn't know I shouldn't. So
The
I don't think there's all this leftover muscle not being used in the human body. That's evolutionary. That's a stupid waste of calories.
Yeah, the only thing that made sense was the almost spider sense like movements because obviously the chip is working on way higher function, but yeah, the strength didn't make any sense. Especially he
Yeah,
flipped the dude around through the table, right? Super easy.
Yeah, I mean, if he had just been like, oh, I have a stick with me, I'm just gonna put it like in your eye and stir your brain up. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like you're faster, you've got reflexes. You're not slowed down because like the human brain is relatively slow compared to a computer. So if they had him like wired up so that like, peak human response time is like a good fraction of a second,
Yep.
and average human response time is like a little under half a second. So if you just got that down to, like 1% of a second, you're just going to be like in the Matrix, it's going to seem. Everyone's going to feel like you're preempting them when you respond to them. So he could like, if they just had like a knife and he killed everyone like that, I'd be like, this is awesome. But instead he's just like, oh, this computer chip gives me the powers of Captain America. I don't know.
Yeah. But speaking of knives, the first kill that he partakes in, he literally takes, obviously this is with Stem in control, he takes the knife and puts it on like the side openings of the mouth and just like slices through. Like,
Yeah, that was dumb looking. I thought I was like, what? That's not. I don't think that's how a jaw looks. It
No,
looked like
it was
he cut a side of
gross.
meat instead of like bones and tendon.
Oh, but also underneath the jaw, they found out that all the people who attacked him and his wife in the beginning are like part robot now,
Yeah.
included with guns built into them. And the dude had like a. So have you ever loaded?
What's the point of doing that? Like, oh look, what's the benefit here? Well, you don't have to carry a gun, and you can never go to the airport. Like, that's a really obvious gun too. Like, their palm looks like they're a cyborg, and all you have to do is just carry a gun. Guns aren't that like. I mean, do these guys not know how concealed carry works?
Yeah. Well, maybe they're in New York.
In a world where guns are only legal if they're embedded in your fucking forearm.
And he literally underneath his forearm had an open slot for where you put the next shotgun shell or whatever.
Why doesn't he have like a magazine in his shoulder or something? Just like I mean, yeah, because I would think that like you'd rather have a machine gun pistol if you've got like augmented eyesight, so you're more accurate. Yeah. I think you'd be better off like a machine gun pistol, so you can like kill 10 people in a half second.
Yeah.
Like RoboCop shit.
Yeah, and the main villain that went on your favorite speech in the beginning, he
Yeah.
had this weird ability where uh, obviously he has to like kill random innocent people for no reason. So he like sneezes, he does a fake sneeze towards the bartender, and little robots like go into his mouth. It's
Yeah.
like, first of all, you deserved that after you like kept your mouth open when this dude sneezed in front of you.
Well, no, it went up his nose.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, just cover your mouth, bro.
I mean, that's why we
Some
got to wear
deadly
masks
shit. Yeah.
for the robot sneezes.
But I thought that was
I'm not
really
sure
cool.
why he would need to sneeze though, because like it was obviously flying.
Yeah.
It wasn't like going really fast in like a ballistic trajectory. It was
Right.
just floating through the air
Like
like a
sneeze
majestic mosquito.
trajectory. But it was like a really cool thing because I've seen a lot of sci-fi and I've seen a lot of weird stuff, comic books, all that stuff in my life, and I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and it
Sneeze.
makes sense as right from a weapon perspective. You've got tiny
Yeah.
machines that you just go in there and disconnect your brain.
Yep. That was pretty
Just
cool.
be like, just hit the off switch.
What else do you want to hit? So, as we
This is really off topic, but every time someone in a movie has telekinesis, I always
Yeah.
thought like, why don't you just squish the person's brain?
Oh yeah.
Squeak! Just like go right there to the stem and just like give a little wiggle.
Yeah, and then we'd have to create a movie where that someone grabs this weird little chip and puts it in your brain, and then you have to go on a revenge spree.
Man, couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, right.
But the revenge spree would end when the person just pulls the chip out with his mind. That's
So
not a brain stem. What's this weird roach-looking thing? I'm gonna crush it.
I'm gonna put you out on this island here. The individual who needs to override the protocol so that Aaron can't shut down Gray's body.
Yeah.
Guy or a girl?
Okay, first of all, don't put me in your binary box.
Guy, girl, or what was it? Interspecies or whatever.
Interspecies? What?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was looking like,
She's not half parakeet.
was she like oh, so she, okay. There were
Well-
no eyebrows and like a weird like bowl cut mullet situation, so I was confused.
I don't know. It was it was so on the nose. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they were going for. It just had to be so ridiculous that it's like we just pass over it immediately and don't give it a second thought.
Like she brought it up like the the meme about like how you know if someone's a vegan, don't worry, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's how she brought it up. Like he's sitting there laying, like, are you done? Like don't ask about my gender. Like no one brought it up.
Yeah. That's true.
I feel like it was honestly it felt like satire, like anti whatever you want to call it satire.
Yeah. For sure.
Like if anyone else had done that, like if it had been a vegan thing, you would say they're mocking vegans.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we had to put this in the book as being like open to be canceled on Twitter.
Yeah. Which is anything these days, to be honest.
Okay, now you've just been canceled on Twitter.
That's fine. Twitter fucking sucks anyways. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Media Man Online.
Yeah. You can follow Dan on Twitter. I've literally never been on Twitter.
Yeah.
As soon as I found out there was a character limit, I'm like, I can't even talk about why I dislike a cheeseburger in 140 characters.
Yep. It's up to 280 now, if you care.
I fucking don't. Maybe 280 words. I could do something in 280 words, but I'm not a. I mean, I don't speak in short sentences.
Right.
If it's not a compound sentence, are you really thinking?
True. Before we hop to the final act, do you have any other notes on there you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. So the hacker seems to have some idea what's going on. Like they say, like we can't let them win.
Yep.
But they unblock that chip without even wondering what it is.
Yep.
I mean, I guess you could say that she made a calculated decision in a time crunch. Like, okay, they're chasing him. They must be enemies. Therefore, enemy of my enemy is my friend, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like in order to free an AI from its controls, you have to know what an AI is.
Yeah.
It's like you can't fix a car without knowing how a car works. Like you can't say like, "Hey, can you repair the transmission?" And the person's going, "What's a transmission?" "Oh, don't worry, just fix it." "Oh, okay, I fixed it."
Got you covered.
It's like a lot of movies that thing where it's like, "Oh, it's a keyboard." Then they either know how to do it or they don't, and there's no plot considerations to be done. But I don't think you can free an AI from its creator's safety nets without understanding the AI.
Right.
So this is point 12 where the movie unravels itself.
Yeah.
This movie is a sweater made out of one thread.
Yeah.
Is that how sweaters are made? I don't actually know.
I have no idea.
But this one is.
I skipped sweater school that day. So
I think you skipped something else.
yeah, definitely.
The person who told you it was a sweater day was probably talking about like a costume day, like an ugly sweater thing for Christmas.
Yeah. Potentially. So we get to the final scene, which is in Aaron's house. Everything starts to unravel. Not just the plot, but so we find out that Stem was behind all of it. He's the one that forced Aaron to... Wait, did Stem hire the bad guys, or he forced Aaron to hire the bad guys? I forget which, but whatever.
I mean, I imagine Stem can make phone calls, so he probably does however he wants.
Yeah. So essentially, Stem was behind it all so that he could take over Gray's body. In which he does. He kills both the cop and Aaron, and walks away creepy, all creepy like. So he also, in the meantime, puts Gray in like this
Matrix. He's in the Matrix.
Yep, where he wakes up acting as though it's a dream, and his wife's alive. So hey, it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, I mean, no one who wasn't a fucking idiot died.
Yeah.
Because there's no one in this movie that knows like that thinks at all, apparently.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this definitely kind of falls down the like evil AI trope. You know, you saw it in Ex Machina.
Yep.
And I think there's a couple other ones. Obviously, the prequel to Terminator.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, those movies are coming back because a lot of famous people are talking about AI, and you know, they are making some progress. So eventually, we will have really smart computers. No one's explained to me why the smart computer has to be evil. I guess Johnny Depp did the one where the AI wasn't dumb, I mean, wasn't evil, but like he just killed himself for some reason.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna heal the oceans and evaporate.
It's always this thing where the AI finds flaws in humanity and kills it, Ultron style. So
yeah, I mean, I guess the movie would be boring if there wasn't something wrong with the AI, but
yep. Or you could go Marvel's current route with this stupid Ironworks situation where they're acting like the humans are the bad ones and the AIs are the victims. It's a really weird thing they're trying to do.
I mean, they kind of do that in Mass Effect, right? Like the AI wrote not the Reapers, but the other AI aren't necessarily evil. It's sort of like the AI runs out of control, and then so the Reapers have to keep humanity in existence.
Sure.
By having AIs run out of control.
So
but I don't understand why the computers always have to be evil. Like, why can't you have like a nice robot?
Right. Yeah, I agree. So this movie, do you have anything else before I wrap it up? Give you some little random facts and some stats?
No, I don't think so. I mean, overall, it's well done, I think.
Yeah, and you stick by your recommend from earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, same here.
Unless you're just really tired of AI movies, I guess.
Yeah. And it has a Venom feel to it with Stem talking to him the whole time and that kind of thing. So take that for what you will. Futuristic Venom, I guess. I mean, without the suit, of course, but it still has like the, inner struggle and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
So the movie released June 1st, 2018. Domestic box office of 11.9 million. International box office 4.9 million. Is it for a total of $16.9 million. As of earlier today, the Blu-ray and digital raked in 2.46 million. And if you wanted to take a guess, I don't know if you've seen the doc or not. What do you think the production cost of this movie was?
Well, I already looked at the amount, so
okay.
I'm gonna guess 4.5 million. Am I close?
Oh man, close. It was 5 million. You're a little bit off.
So close.
So it made its money back and then some. The original title for this movie was to be called STEM, and let's see. Producer Jason Blum originally planned for a sequel, despite the director's intent on a standalone film. And in May of 2020, just recently here, rumors of a sequel series circulated, which would be set several years after the events of the movie, with a new host, an evolved version of STEM, and the government trying to use STEM as a way to curb criminal activity. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I guess given how poorly done like every major concept is, it would have to fall in kind of like the Minority Report area where like we have this interesting world, but we're going to ignore it and just have action. In which case, I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, I enjoy just a good dumb action movie.
Yeah.
I wish they'd stop. I wish they'd stop putting complex plots in this stuff. Just have someone walk into a building with a sidekick and kill people if you really want to just do some action.
Yeah, and I think it would have to end up going PG-13, which would suck. I did like the raw nature of the movie, but built for TV, right? So,
I mean, I feel like you can get pretty brutal if you go with the right streaming service.
Sure. Oh yeah, of course.
You could Netflix has some Netflix has some stuff on it.
Absolutely. Okay, that's fair enough. I was thinking more of like network TV. So
I don't see any reason like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, maybe not Disney, but pretty much anyone except Disney. I don't see any reason they couldn't have an unrated movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. I was thinking network TV when I first thought of this, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Does network TV still make stuff?
Yeah, of course. And this seems like it'd be right up their alley as well.
Huh.
Fox,
I think the last show I watched that was made by a network was probably Burn Notice.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I liked Burn Notice.
So did I. It was just kind of a weird one because it
ended
that's
what's coming to mind. Well, yeah. I mean, okay. What's there like a really good show that like was pretty popular that like a network made? Maybe I'm just not.
I don't know. Breaking Bad. Was that?
Oh yeah, I guess that is. I don't know why I thought Breaking Bad was streamed. I guess because I streamed it. Okay, I take it all back. They're still making stuff.
Yeah, I think Breaking Bad and Burn Notice ended the same year, so whatever. We're both in the same boat. Yeah.
Wow, I in my mind, Burn Notice is like 10 years older than Breaking Bad.
Yes, Breaking Bad 2008 to 2013. Yep, and Burn Notice was 2005 to 2013.
Wait, so
to 2013.
Burn Notice was only 7 years ago.
Seasons, yeah.
It feels like it was so long.
Right. Yeah, and it just seems like, and I really enjoyed that show. And it started to get tired after a while, but I liked it. So,
I mean, it definitely Dextered.
Yeah. As do most shows. So on IMDb, out of 141,773 ratings. It received an average of 7.5 out of 10, which I thought was probably right around where I'd rate it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that rating.